Hello and welcome to the Skipper's View podcast. My name is Brett. Today we got two returners back online. We got Ben and Lewis. How are you guys doing? We'll start off with a quick intro. How is everyone's weekend?
And it's been going good so far. Ready to talk some ball again.
Horrible. Had a football game today and lost. Horrible day. Now I'm ready to talk ball though. Yeah.
Love that. You play soccer on the side, Lewis?
Now I coach a under 17s team and we had a title game today, like title decider, and we lost 5-2. So tough day.
I didn't know that. We got to talk about that more offline, but sorry to hear that. So I guess we'll go start right up into it. The polar bear, Pete Alonso, is back with the New York Mets. So that being said, I just pulled up a Roto Champs projected 2025 lineup for the Mets. We got Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, Vientos, Winker, Francisco Alvarez, McNeil, and Siri. Guys, are the Mets now the favorite to win the NL East with this move or no?
No, you're asking the wrong person if you're going to ask me about that question. I think the Braves are still – it's going to be a dogfight regardless. The Braves, the Phillies, and the Mets are just going to slug it out. I think the Braves still have a little bit better of a lineup. And I don't know if that's my bias talking, but I don't know, man. That's a damn good lineup, but I think the Braves edge them out just a little bit.
I think the Braves and the Mets have the better hitters, but I think the Phillies have probably the best rotation of the three. So I think a lot will depend if the Mets starters and the Braves starters can stay healthy, because if they start getting injuries, like it might get ugly.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think the Braves, like when you go into this season, you got to look at every team like, hey, what's the best possible outcome? Yeah, I'm looking at Francisco Alvarez kills it this year, 25 plus home runs. Vientos finds his thing again. He clubs 25 plus. Alonso, Citi Field's not easy to hit, but he's done it. He's hit 53 or 51 in the season. Can he hit 40? So if the Braves go off, it's like Acuna comes back. He's a stud. You got Riley. You got Olsen. You got Albies. You got Jurickson Profar, and you're like, wow, Braves are still really – and Michael Harris the second. I didn't even name him. And then you got Sean Murphy with the – Drake Baldwin's going to be backing him up at some point. Like,
and
you also forgot the best hitter of the Braves lineup in 2024 too, Marcell Ozuna.
I did forget the DH. Yeah, like the Braves are loaded. So I think the Mets – made a competitive move. Love it. Love that Alonso gets to stay in New York. Bummed that the Yankees didn't go after him earlier. Maybe with knowing how this panned out, if they could have, offered a little bit more money instead of going after Goldschmidt when they did, if it coulda, shoulda, woulda. But we'll jump to the next thing. Jack Flaherty, he is joining the Detroit Tigers on a 2-year deal worth $35 million. That being said, I want to jump right quickly. Obviously, the Detroit Tigers made a playoff run last year, and they were kind of a miracle team. Let's look at the team now. You got Skubal, Reese Olson, Flaherty, Bob, Jackson Jobe. They're all in the rotation. Are the Detroit Tigers, with the addition of Flaherty, is this the best rotation in the AL Central right now? You got to think the White Sox, obviously, it's better. It's closer with the Royals than what it was. The Guardians still have a pretty solid rotation. They have a nice one too. And, I'm trying to think, who am I missing in the AL Central right now?
The Twins.
The Twins, which I think this could be easily as good as the Twins. So what do we think with Jack Flaherty going back to Detroit?
I think this is probably the best rotation in the AL Central. I think you're right. I think it's deep as well. And obviously a lot of people give Paul Skeens a lot of attention for how good he is, but let's not forget that Jackson Jobe was pumping 100-mile-per-hour heaters in the minors as well. So if he comes back into 2025 as like one of the best young starters out there, their rotation is amazing.
I think that the Royals are probably still a good bit better, considering their top three with Reagans, Waka, and Lugo. Now, it all just depends on who stays healthy, who keeps up this pace that they were on from last year, but I still think the Royals got them beat just a little bit.
Right now, I agree with you, Ben, but if Jobe pans out, it's like Skubal, Flaherty, and Jobe are going to be a nice 1, 2, 3. They're going to be a nightmare for playoff series.
Oh, yeah.
We'll jump to probably the last big in terms of the big free agency news of what's going on, Houston general manager Dana Brown made a comment, suggested that Bregman will officially, like, they're out on Bregman. That's what it seems what's going on, even after the rumors last week of how you say Jose Altuve going to play left field and make room to make this all work so they can go get someone else and then have Bregman at second or third wherever they want. Now it looks like Cubs or Tigers are going to get Bregman. Where are you guys at with Bregman? Do you think he's going to sign the highest bidder and a random team's going to come in at the, the twilight hour here? Or do we think it's definitely Cubs, Tigers, done deal? Will be one or the other by probably the end of the week?
Honestly, I think this could be a situation that's the same as the Mets were with Alonso. Steve Cohen came out and said, basically, like, stop asking about him. Stop asking. He's done. We're not going after him. But look what happened. He went back to the Mets. I think that Bregman, I mean, if he's not going to the Astros, I honestly think the Tigers are just going to throw money at him. But I still think he's going back to the Astros. I think that's just kind of bullshit, if you ask me. But
I agree as well. I think he's got Bregman and the Astros is just like him anywhere else. It just wouldn't make sense. I think he's going back there as well.
Yeah, I can't see Bregman not on the Astros. And I'm like hoping he leaves, because then for me it's like that era of Astros dominance is kind of gone. And that doesn't mean they can't be good, because obviously they just got Paredes. They still have Altuve. I know they got rid of Tucker, but they have Jordan Alvarez, who's one of the best bats in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And they just did sign Christian Walker. Like, it's not like they're not going to be competitive. It's just like
that. Walker,
I'm forgetting who.
I keep forgetting they actually signed Christian Walker.
Yeah, I know, right? 3 years too. It's not like a 1 year, a 1 year assassin deal. He's there for. At least you would think he's going to be there for the next 3 years.
They better hope he doesn't Jose Abreu himself, but.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, even if he does Jose Abreu himself and he's awful, it's going to be hard to move him. So if anything, they're like, the only way he's off that roster is if they pay him out and buy him out of the contract, and he's just done in baseball, that's a totally different story.
The only difference between him and Abreu is that he's a Gold Glover at first, and Abreu is definitely not.
Exactly. That's a great point. We'll jump to the American League. Obviously, this is now not the end of free agency, but more towards the end. A lot of just little deals, but some big names still out there that could be real difference pieces for some of these teams. So let's start with the Angels. They signed Juan Moncada. Who, I don't know if you guys know this. Dean was the biggest Juan Moncada fan in the world at one point. I think he's very happy that they dealt him. It wasn't happy at the time, but dealt him later. I think he was in the Chris Sale trade originally for the White Sox, and that's how he ended up out there. So at the time, I don't know if I remember him specifically being like irate, but I don't remember him being the most happy, even though it clearly worked out for Boston, right? At least for a little bit. Moncada's a third baseman. He's coming in. Is this the Anthony Rendon replacement, or is this a
He's going
backup?
to join Anthony Rendon in the hospital every week.
Yeah, I guess they do both have their injury issues. This is a $5 million deal. I don't know. I said this on the last episode. I don't know how to even address the Anthony Rendon conversation anymore. Like, is he a relevant baseball player? Is he not?
He doesn't want to play baseball. Like, he has made it vastly clear that the last thing that this man wants to do is play baseball. He does not want to do his job. And I mean, he made his money, so like, who cares, I guess. But I don't know. He just does not want to play ball.
I do want to say about the Angel as well with the Moncada signing. Let's not forget that in 2023 he played 92 games, hit 260, hit 11 home runs. I don't think it's a horrible signing, especially because they signed Tim Anderson as well, and it's like they're kind of giving these. How do you label these players? Like, players that have a good pass and that kind of fell over a cliff the last few years. They're giving them like a shot, and it's like, I don't think there's, on that side anyway, on the Moncada side, I don't think for $5 million there's like a chance of losing that deal, even if it doesn't pan out. But even if he plays like 90 games and hits 260, 10 bombs, like, I'll take it.
They kind of remind me of the Athletics from a few years ago. Like, whenever they started their rebuild, they just signed like whoever, and like even people who had a past. I think it wasn't Gio Urshela. Who was it they signed? It was a former like Yankee that played pretty well. Anyway, I don't know, man. Was it Urshela?
Urshela was there, and he was a Yankee, but then he went to the Twins, I believe. Last I checked in on Gio Urshela, he was a good Yankee though. If I was pulling a number out of my top of my head, I think he batted like 260, 270. Like he was not. He's a good contact hitter.
Right, but that's kind of my point. Like the Athletics a couple years ago were just signing like guys off the street who had success before, but like obviously way past their prime. But if Moncada can play 81 games and Rendon can play 81 games, then you have 162 games from your third base, and it's kind of covered. Same with the next point with Bader and Buxton.
Yeah, let's just hope those 81 games don't coincide with each other. But next piece of news: Harrison Bader signs with the Minnesota Twins 1-year deal for $6.25 million. They also signed Danny Colomb to a 1-year deal for $3 million. So they added a reliever, they added an outfielder. Twins are not really that exciting. We'll jump to the Yanks. Tim Hill, Timmy Boy, is returning to the Yankees on a 1-year deal for $2.85 million. Why?
He was awful in San Diego. He threw every game. He was so bad. Every time Tim Hill came in, I knew it was over.
You know what I noticed? Like, I am definitely one of the more pessimistic Yankee fans. I'm not a vocal pessimistic Yankee fan. I kind of keep it to myself because it's like nobody wants to hear anyone hear the Yankees cry wolf. It's like, are you kidding me? Like how much success the Yankees have had over the years. Like, Yankee fans are the last people to cry about it. But I
love
will
to
say
hear
this.
Yankee fans bitch. I love it.
I'll say this. The Yankees, out of all the things I could flaw them, they somehow do. I don't know whether it's development. I got to look into this more or ask John Boy to comment on this. They do a really good job of getting guys in the bullpen to perform well. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily obviously they bring in big arms like Devin Williams they're bringing in, and that's just this year. But over the years, they just like had guys that they do well in New York in the bullpen. I want to quickly add that with Tim Hill coming back, the bullpen this year for the Yanks, if you can see my screen, and this is according to Fangraphs, Devin Williams is the lockdown closer. Weaver's now they got the 8th. Ian Hamilton and Fernando Cruz, I think they'll have different points this season where one of them will be the 7th inning guy. But I love having, you still have Jonathan Loaizaga, who's on the injured reserve. He's a solid 7th inning, middle inning relief guy too. With Tim Hill, Mark Leiter Jr., and JT Brubaker now, I think the Yankees bullpen is going to be special this year. I don't know why. I really do think that people are sleeping on the Yankees' moves. Like, I know everyone's hung up on the Juan Soto, lack thereof signing him. But the Yankees now getting him. They just had Cookie Carrasco to, the minor leagues on a 1-year deal. But they're giving him up $1.5 million. And he has incentives to earn up to $2.5 million. He's 37 years old, but if the Yankees can get 6-man rotation spot starts out of him, if someone's dealing with an injury and they need him to come up, that's not a bad 6 option to go to. Yankees made definitely a couple nice moves this week, in my opinion. We'll jump quickly to Baltimore. They agreed to a 1-year, $4 million deal with Ramon Laureano. I don't get, and you guys comment on this one. Why does Baltimore seemingly keep signing outfielders and they're all on short, small deals? Like, why are they not addressing the starting pitching? I know they got Charlie Morton. I know they got Sagano. I know they've added some, but don't you think they would add more relievers and starters to this team rather than outfielders at this point?
It's not just that they're blocking their own prospects who are literally talked about as some of the best in baseball. They keep blocking them by signing these absolute random players. No offense, because I know Laureano is a former Brave, but I don't get it as well. Their starting rotation, if Grayson Rodriguez gets injured, their season, they might as well just wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird to me. The Laureano signing, okay, cool. Ramon Laureano is a good depth piece, but why the hell are you signing him? You don't have a place for him to play. I don't know. It's blown my mind too.
It's I know Heston Kjerstad, and he's probably one of the guys you're referring to, Lewis, right? Of guys getting naturally blocked by them signing these guys. Didn't Kjerstad People say like the pop of his bat was like insane. I know he's gotten some run at the MLB level, and I couldn't even tell you right now. Like I could look it up, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, but not just that.
His
Like,
numbers,
yeah, yeah.
but
I
like
mean,
he's a guy. If they're trying to be cheap, why not let him play, get the at bats, and go spend the money on a big time starter? I don't.
Do you
It's-
think they might? Do you think they might be just trying to sign these guys so they can afford to trade one of their top prospects for a top flight starting pitcher? I mean,
That's not a bad question, but
That's
like.
good.
Who they signed? They signed Tyler O'Neill. They signed Ramon Laureano now. And who was the other Cardinals outfielder they signed this offseason that's now there too? Tyler O'Neill. Or did I say him twice?
you said him twice.
So, you know what I mean? It's just like random 1 year deals, 1 year, 2 year opt outs. I don't get it. I don't think that these guys are going to. If Tyler O'Neill has a massive first half, which he's definitely like capable of, he's jacked. And
He's going to hit a home run on opening day, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and with
Is
nobody
that-
on base.
I think it's like
But,
a streak, right? I don't know what year he's on, but
yeah, I guess was it then 3 or 4 years he's done that now? Opening day home
I
run.
think he's the record holder now. You know, I think he broke the record last year.
Yeah. So the point is, I don't know if they could even get a starter. Like they would have to trade for him, but they would obviously be getting a guy with not a lot of control because like no team's going to give up a great starter with a lot of control for Tyler O'Neill or Ramon Laureano. Let's be honest.
Well, no, I mean they might trade like Heston Kjerstad or
But
Kobe
I-
Mayo or
Don't get
somebody for a starter.
But the thing is now Kjerstad's seen MLB time. I think that Kjerstad, you need him to play in order for him to get his value back up to where like, they wanted to utilize him at. He was like a first or second round pick from what I remember.
They have Kobe Mayo as well, who absolutely tore it up at AAA.
Yeah, Heston
Absolutely.
Kjerstad might have been the second overall pick if I remember correctly. Hold on, I'll look that up. But as we move on, why the Orioles keep messing up? Toronto Blue Jays, they've had a string of bad luck in terms of missing out on guys that they've been going after. So, by the way, Kjerstad was the second overall pick. I don't know how I forgot that, but they keep missing Toronto. So they have a lot of things to work on. Obviously, they got Scherzer, they got Santander, but they didn't get Shohei. They didn't get Soto. Guys that they said they were in on. I think that we got a dog in the house.
Sorry.
No, all good. But they brought in last year Yariel Rodriguez. They made him a reliever, and now he's competing for the 5th spot in the rotation. And, as of this week, I know that there have been reports that they're working on an extension with Vladdy. We'll comment on this quickly from you two. I want to hear both of your reports. He's looking for $100 million more than the $340 million the Blue Jays reportedly offered him earlier this offseason. So he's looking for like $440 to $500 million. Do you think the Blue Jays are going to get this done with Vladdy, or you think he's gone?
They might get desperate.
I'll start with Lewis.
Yeah, I think they might get desperate and give it to him. And honestly, like if he keeps putting up seasons like he has last year, I think he's worth it. Honestly, like technically he won't be worth it, but he's going to be like a face of the franchise type player for at least another 7-8 years. So I think they might get it done just because it's Vladdy. He's connected to Toronto. I think they'll just get desperate and be like, yeah, just take our money.
I think they have to get a deal done with him. I'll just leave it at that. If they don't, it's like he's a generational type player. They need to get it.
I agree.
We'll jump to the National League real quick. We'll start with the NL West. Bryce Eldridge, he was, his bat's looking special. He was invited to the big league spring training with the Giants. We're really excited to see that. I think he's a big, tall guy, like 7 as well.
Yeah.
Maybe 6'5". He's huge, and we had Hayden Winya on the program. He said Bryce Eldridge is special. So I'm going to listen to Hayden, and I'm going to try and trade for him or draft him in certain first-year player drafts amongst the friends. We'll see where I can get him in dynasty leagues. I'm going to let you quickly cover the Padres, Lewis, but obviously they signed Jason Hayward and they signed Connor Joe, or they're working on a deal with Connor Joe now to address left field.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on losing Jurickson Profar for one of these two guys?
Yeah,
or
so
both these guys?
I'll make it quick. On Connor Joe, we signed him for the same amount of money as we signed Profar. When we signed Profar, everyone thought it was a useless deal. That he wasn't going to add anything. I want to add that Connor Joe, I had it written down on my phone. In 2024, between March and April had an OPS of 853. He had a 962 OPS in 2023 in those months and an 865 OPS in 2022. So he starts off extremely hot. Now, obviously after that he falls off a cliff, but if he can stay kind of hot in the months after that, I think it's a solid addition. And I think it's a good platoon bat because I still think it's going to be him and Ornelas playing left field. Hayward, I don't know. I think it's all right. I think it's more like a depth option, honestly.
Yeah. And they are doing what they always do, which seems to be aggressively promoting guys to come on up. You got Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas both got invites to this big league spring training. They're both 18 years old. Ethan Salas has been notably, I guess, he had a down year from what people wanted to to see of him, but he's also 18 years old playing in Double-A baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got Leo DeVries, who I think was playing in his first year since he got signed last year from the international class.
Yeah.
So he's playing his first year of like major league organized, or minor league, I guess, organized baseball. And he looks incredible. So I understand why they're inviting both them to big league training. Do you think they are wasting two spots on? Like, there's no shot these guys are making the opening. There's no shot they're playing the MLB this year.
Yeah, I think they're both so talented. They want to give them a look at how it goes, Major League Spring Training. But wasting two spots, honestly, I really don't think so. But there's a third prospect that's coming up as well. His name's Romeo Sanabria, if I'm not mistaken. And he's one to watch as well because he's actually one of them players that did pretty well as well in the minors. And he's not nearly as known as the other two. But he's getting a call up as well. So that's one to watch for as well, besides those two. But I expect them to just get a look in. I've seen Salas training with the Rise as well, which is obviously exciting with his hitting coach as well. But yeah, I think it's more like have a look, see how it goes. Not really anything other than that.
Yeah, we got a couple of tidbits here to conclude the NL West, and then we'll jump to the NL Central. Arizona Diamondbacks re-signed Randall Grichuk. He's 33 years old to a one-year deal. Per Mark Feinsand, the deal guarantees $5 million. Making $2 million in 2025 plus a $3 million buyout with a $5 million mutual option for 2026. So this is a good deal for the Diamondbacks, good deal for the Randall Grichuk party. He also gets an incentive of $250,000 if he hits 200 and 275 plate appearances. There's several incentives here for plate appearances. So if he plays well, he's going to get paid. He's coming to the end of his career at 33. I think this is a great move for the Diamondbacks to keep him in the house there. They also signed Trey Mancini to a minor league deal, which includes spring training and spring training invite. So the news around this, though, he didn't play in 2024. He's also known to show power. He's a cancer survivor as well. He had 4 seasons of 20-plus home runs with the Orioles between 2017 and 2021. I like this move a lot for Arizona. They just got rid of Christian Walker. They're going to need a guy playing one of the corner spots and or DH for some power. Obviously, they brought in, Naylor from the Guardians. And this is just like, hey, if we need a guy to come up here every few days and play a bench bat who's got some power, Trey Mancini is a great bat to sign. I don't hate this at all. We'll talk real quick. Cubs acquire Ryan Brazier in a trade from the Dodgers. So the Cubs are sending a player to be named and cash to the Dodgers for Brazier. Brazier was 1-0 last year with a 3.54 ERA, 29 games. The Dodgers, they know what they're doing. Is Ryan Brazier done? I don't know, but I have a feeling the Dodgers just don't, obviously they're signing Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott. They don't need Brazier in the bullpen anymore. So they're going to get a guy, throw him in the farm system, and continue doing what they're doing. Cubs also add Nicky Lopez to a minor league deal. He's a solid little infielder. He's a good contact hitter. I don't think there's much here. He's going to have to play his way to the bigs. Pittsburgh, this is a big one. Ben, I'll let you comment on this real quick. Tommy Pham, 37. He's now a Pittsburgh Pirate. 1 year, $0.025 million. What do we think of this for the Pirates?
I love it. A Pirates team who's pretty young, they need that kind of grit and leadership in clubhouse. And I'm going to be honest with you, like Tommy Pham, he's one of those guys who you're going to love it when he's on your team because he's going to fight like a madman to win. He does not care what anybody else thinks. He's going to do whatever he can to win. And I think that's what the Pirates clubhouse needs. It's fairly young. They also signed Adam Frazier back, which is also another veteran presence in the clubhouse. I mean, Tommy Pham's realistically 15 homers, 15 stolen base outfield guy who they can trade at the trade deadline for a couple more prospects later on during the season. But overall, great move for them.
Is Tommy Pham the one who had like the major issue with the fantasy football thing?
Yes.
I always
That
forget
man.
about that, where he got so
Yeah.
sensitive about someone talking shit to him about fantasy football.
Man, I don't even care, dude. He just seems like he's the best teammate ever. But you hate to play against him.
Yeah, no, you gotta. He's like the, that's like who's that remind me of? Like Draymond Green. Like no one wants to play against him, but you would love him as a teammate. Like everyone doesn't like him, but as a teammate, his teammates probably love that guy.
Okay, in fairness, Draymond Green kicks folks in the nuts. So, I mean,
Hey,
I don't think Tommy Pham does that.
Somebody's got to do it. So the Cardinals, they dealt with the Twins to acquire Michael Hellman. Are they preparing for an Arenado departure? Lewis, let's hear from you.
I mean, I hope not, considering they're getting Michael Hellman back. Honestly, I don't know. I honestly find it really hard because like they're in such a weird place with the Arenado situation. Like there's been rumors for like how long now? I can't even remember, but he's still there at the end of the day. He's still there. And I wonder if it's a case of him not wanting to go or teams not wanting to take on his contract, because let's keep in mind that he's declined quite a bit over the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they're preparing for his departure. I think they might have to prepare for that contract, like looking kind of ugly towards the end of it.
But we got to acknowledge, though, that Arenado might have had a down year last year, but 2023 was like one of the best of his career, if I'm not mistaken. It was like a 7-WAR season.
I think
Nolan
it was
Arenado.
2022, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. It might have been 2022. Let me look it up really quick.
I think he was alright in 2023, but still like went a little bit down. Wait, I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. So 2023 was a 2.4 WAR season. 2024 was 2.5. I mean, I know a lot of teams who could use 2.5 to 3 WAR at the third base position as a right-handed power bat. The Red Sox are one in particular. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like people are acting like Arenado's ass, and he's just not. He's still a decent ball player.
I don't think he's a bad player, but I just think like I want to add as well that in the first half, I believe his defensive metrics were actually below average. He obviously picked it back up after the break, but it's the second year in a row that's happened. And when defense starts getting into a slump, the real question is like, is he getting older? You know what I mean? That's how I see it. And also he's recovered from it twice and eventually ended with like elite numbers. But the fact that he always needs like a full half to get his defense back up to where we're used to it being from him, I don't know. I feel like it's worrying for a third baseman that's only getting older and still owed quite a lot of money.
Yeah. Arenado, I made a tweet about him going to the Yankees this week. I got ripped hard. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Well,
Everyone was like, "Does this guy have brain cells anymore?" It's like the Cardinals are clearly trying to shed payroll. I had an aging starter, either Eric Fetty or Sonny Gray, who are both, Fetty just got his contract. Sonny Gray's on a contract, and Nolan Arenado is clearly the subject of trade interest. The Cardinals are trying to, and I named like the Yankees send like 3 or 4 of their top prospects. It's like, who gives a shit about the prospects right now? Like, you are in win now mode. You have Aaron Judge for 3 more years of like Aaron Judge being Aaron Judge. You got Jason Dominguez, who, is not in his prime at all yet. And we don't know what he even looks like. He's still a prospect, like technically. And then, I don't know, Giancarlo Stanton, you're paying the man right now. And he just put up playoff numbers if you guys didn't watch the playoffs, which I'm sure you did. And they have Garrett Cole. I don't know why the Yankees wouldn't sell out their entire farm system and then go for it from scratch when all these contracts expire anyway. It just, I don't know. It made sense to me. But we'll move on because we're just short on time here. Nationals agreed to a deal with Colin Post for the minor leagues. I think this is a solid move. He was on the Rays for a while, was really good. If the Nationals get anything out of him, kudos to them. Ben, real quick, Danny Jimenez, 11 saves back in 2022 for Oakland. Now he's going to be in the minor league system for the Braves. Do you think he gets up to the major leagues this year?
There's a good chance the Braves need relief pitching. I mean, his StatCast from last year didn't have a whole lot that he actually qualified for, but I mean, there were some pretty good percentiles on here. Like he was, his whiff percentage was 29.3%. The hard hit percentage was 31.9%. Small sample size, but I mean, it's a flyer. AA knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Real quick, top 3 free agents available for the arms right now. You got Nick Pivetta, Clayton Kershaw, Jose Quintana. Real quick, where do you think the players are going? I'm saying Nick Pivetta is going to end up with the Texas Rangers. Clayton Kershaw, Ben, I'm going to give you the easy one. Where do you think Kershaw is going to end up?
Where do we think he's going to end up? The Dodgers. Nowhere else.
And Lewis, where do you think Quintana's ending up?
Any team that needs a 5th starter that can eat a shit ton of innings is going to get Quintana. That's kind of their reason.
Atlanta would be a great spot for Quintana. Atlanta would be great. Or even like Arizona. That would both be good. A real quick injury front. Not too much this week. Sandy Alcantara is likely to be on innings limit. No surprise for the first couple of months. But it sounds like he commented like on the time with it. So it sounds like he's like, I'm only doing 2 months limited. After that, I'm going to full extent. Yeah, like he's like kind of like, yeah, it was weird the way he worded it. It was like kind of like, dude, that's a major league organization. They're going to tell you how many innings they want you to pitch.
Yeah, it sounded like he said, I want to pitch 200 innings, and they said, no, you're not. That's kind of what it sounded like.
Yeah, and then finally, I'll try and wrap this up all in the next 2 minutes here. MLB miscellaneous. So MLB upheld its decision to fire Pat Hoberg. Pat Hoberg, umpire. It sucks because it's truly like he is one of the best umps in the game. But he was, he didn't think and shared a gambling account. Whether he was doing anything malicious or not, he shared a gambling account with a buddy who was betting on baseball. Like, shame on you. Like, I don't want him to get crucified for this. The guy just lost his job. But if they find out he was betting, obviously it's a whole different story. But he's gone from the game, and the MLB just lost a great ump. So I don't know if you guys do. You guys have anything on Pat Hoberg, or is that are we all the same consensus?
I'm actually being serious about it as well. Like, if he actually hasn't bet on a game, I know it's a stupid mistake, and he shouldn't have done it. But if it shows he's innocent, why do you take away the man's job? Like, genuine question.
Yeah, well, to make an example, unfortunately, that's probably why. But in the words of our infamous Dean, jail.
Hey, I'll try to keep this quick too, but extremely hot take here. If there was no punishment for Shohei because of Ippei betting on games and Shohei admitting to paying off Ippei, Pat Hoberg should also not be punished for his friend doing all of it. If there's nothing, if Pat truly did not bet on games.
Preach.
I mean, it's the same scenario, same exact scenario.
Yeah, the thing, it is, but at the same time, like, Pat Hoberg is supposed to be the arbitrator of like a fair game versus Shohei's just like a player of that game. There's a little difference. But
Pat Hoberg is the Shohei Ohtani of umpires.
Why if Ippei bets on Shohei striking out 3 times and he does?
That is Pat Hoberg. I love that take. Pat Hoberg is the Shohei Ohtani of umpire.
He is the best umpire in the league.
That's great. I'm going to use that. We might name the episode that, actually. So, speaking of Ippei Mizuhara, he's sentenced to 57 months in prison. If he did wrong, he's going to jail. That sucks. The new spring training hats, I know, Lewis, you commented in the group. You said you didn't like them, correct?
Yeah, they're ugly, all of them.
Even the Diamondbacks one? The Diamondbacks one's pretty sad.
The D-backs one is sick.
Right, but I think 90% of them are genuinely horrible.
I think they're pretty bad too, honestly. I didn't want to be glass half full, but the Diamondbacks one was pretty cool. The teal is
D-backs
awesome.
Is sick. Yeah, I love it.
Unfortunately, MLB saw Faye Vincent pass away at the age of 86 from complications from bladder cancer. He was the MLB commissioner from 89 to 92. He oversaw the 1990 labor lockout. He also was a part of the process for National League expansion for Denver and Miami, so the Rockies and Marlins. It's a sad day when a commissioner goes. So, prayers to the Vincent family, and hope, they can get over their lost one soon enough, because baseball definitely lost a good one. Astros, I saw that they will retire Billy Wagner's number 13, so that's awesome. We're huge Billy Wagner fans. And then finally, I saw this right before we hopped on the show. So Dominican Republic, they hit Mexico to win the Caribbean Series. I did not watch any of it, to be honest, but it was 67th running of that tournament. I'll definitely watch it again. Last year, I paid a lot of attention. This year, I didn't watch any of it. I just was too busy. But yeah, that's all I got for this week. So unless you get any final words from you guys, or we good to send them off?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right.
Free Pat Hoberg.
Free Pat Hoberg.
Free Pat Hoberg.
So that being said, go to the website, subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. If you want to join in for the paid subscription, help our writers get paid a little bit more for their work. Go follow, subscribe, listen to the podcast. We'll be sharing this out on X, I'm sure, through all of our accounts. We greatly appreciate everyone listening if you made it this far. Bye.